Cal, busy weekend ahead, a trip to Buxton, a trip to Chorley in the next few days or so, but we'll look back first, the game against Pontefract Collieries. First half, it was fair to say it was a proper cup tie, and in the end, was it a case of just that quality, higher league, and maybe the fitness just told in the end?
Look, it's a lot easier for me to speak with hindsight, having watched the game back 2 or 3 times, and equally seeing the data, being able to really see the effort levels exerted in the game and analyse it a little bit more. I was frustrated at half time. When I watch it back, we just didn't finish the first half very well. If you think in the opening 15 minutes the ball comes across their box, the goalkeeper does so well to dive on one. Ollie Hayward has a shot blocked, Anthony Dudley has a shot blocked, Cole Hall has an opportunity from a really well worked short corner. So for us, I think if it was the other way around, we were maybe less frustrated at half time and we're talking about, well, let's keep going. No, our performance got to a stage in the middle of half where we made 2 mistakes playing in the midfield, and you think then as a group I thought we were reluctant to keep doing what we needed to do. So just had a little play around with some build-up pictures in the second half, went with a bit more natural width from forwards rather than full-backs because we were a little bit disjointed in that first half. But when I watch it back, I almost question myself and why was I so disappointed and so frustrated, because you could see with a little bit more quality, not so much anything around speed, urgency, that stuff comes over the course of the game, and then once you get one, the second one is obviously a bit of a unique goal, but a bit of quick thinking from Kurt, and from then on, a bit frustrated we haven't got a third. So I analysed the performance over 90 minutes, not 45. We're not a boxer that are trying to win by knockout. We've done enough to create opportunities to score in the first half, and then ultimately in the second half things open up, and like you say, a whole load of factors come in against the side that I thought restricted us. Look, it's a side that stopped Halifax scoring in the FA Cup last year as well and forced a replay. So delighted to be through. I think that was the main thing. I think the atmosphere was around, you could tell there's a nervousness around the FA Cup and there's a tension, and speaking to the players after the game and through the week, you almost felt at half time it was half time in the Mars game, the Marine game, the Dunstan game, and I think that translated into a performance towards the end of the first half. But this is a new group, and ultimately when this group don't do well, they don't do well in isolation, not for anything that's gone before. But we're through, clean sheet, back-to-back clean sheets, 3 wins in 4. Really delighted with where we're at.
And next up, a side who also advanced in the FA Cup last weekend, in a newly promoted side, of course, the National League North, in Buxton. A tough trip, but you talked about the numbers there, 4 unbeaten now, and a chance to keep that key word again, momentum, a chance to keep building, isn't it?
I think so. Look, I think Buxton are in a false position given the players that they've got, and I think you saw the business that when they needed to strengthen, and they bring Scott Bowden in and they bring Luke Burke in, the players that they can boast amongst the ranks on the bench last week, by the way, since they made a couple of changes for the FA Cup, are players that are serial winners at this level and promotion, a lot of players that we think a lot of. So we recognise that it's going to be a really tough test. League positions don't mean anything at the moment, and I mean that with us as well, because if things had gone a little bit differently, we'd be sitting in a playoff position. In the same way, if things had gone a little bit differently in another way, what 3 points less can do for you really does make a difference after 8 games or so. But this is a side that I felt Buxton would be at the right end of the table come the end of the season, and I still do. We're going to have to go and be really hard to beat, difficult to play against. They've got a lot of good forward players, good facilities, a manager that knows exactly what he's doing and what he wants to be. But for us, it's an opportunity, yes, to keep building on a really good run, chance to go potentially for a 3rd win, a good unbeaten run, obviously with the Kings Lynn draw in there as well. But if you rewind, we're looking for back-to-back away wins, which have been very hard to come by for this club. We're building on the back of an away win at Curzon, that we will be doing everything we can to try and extend that on Saturday and then again on Tuesday as well.
As you touch on there, Tuesday, back-to-back away games now after the run of home games we've had. A game at Chorley, who, again, a team that would be familiar to Buxton's manager and Jamie Vermiglio, a side that perhaps quite similar to last year, and they had a positive season, and of course performed well, did the double over Chester last year as well.
I think the exciting bit is it's 2 local away games, and you expect a big following that will be right behind us, the way that they were particularly at Curzon and Alfreton and in those home games. So that's exciting, and I think you can see for the players enjoy being a part of that at the moment, and the supporters and the club have certainly got a team that are easy to support for the type of performances and the way that they've played. Chorley, it poses a real challenge the Saturday Tuesdays, and I think I learned that in my previous role quickly. I'm really seeing it here. We'll have to use everyone in our squad, so I would expect between the Saturday Tuesday real changes both between those games, and we've got to make sure that we maximise our group, because it is difficult to pick yourself up and go again, particularly away from home. Even in the home games, I think we saw that at Brackley Hereford where we just lacked a little bit of something to get that goal. And then again the bank holiday weekend at the end of August. So we've picked up on that. We're really, really happy with our group and what we've got. I think the message for us will be we've got to be hard to beat, and that is what we can be. There's been a lot of change. We've had to do a lot of different things in possession because of a lack of availability, continuity, and part of finding the solutions and getting the best version of us hasn't been easy, and I don't think we've quite settled on it at times. What I'm quite clear on the Saturday Tuesday is what we'll be, and we will be resolute, we'll be resilient, we'll be difficult to break down, and I think you've seen we've improved in terms of defending set plays. So for us, they're the type of performances that we've got to put on. To be honest, 23 times, if you want to get anything away from home, I thought Peterborough Sports, where we've lost away, we've done okay, we've not defended well enough, and if you do that away from home, you're going to get beat. So the realities of what we'll be looking at are for real out of possession performances, and with two big followings behind us, they'd certainly be great games to pick points in over the Saturday Tuesday.
Definitely, and then it builds further, and there's that FA Cup game a week on Saturday back at the Diva, very similar in terms of a side a couple of divisions below that could prove to be an awkward opposition, but fans talk, don't they, all the time about the opportunity for Chester to get on a cup run. It would mean a lot to the club, wouldn't it? And I'm sure to yourself as well.
Yeah, look, aside two divisions below, I tell you what, I hope it's not 0-0 at half time. You've got to realise that the gulf between the two divisions doesn't exist, and I look, particularly at that division that I know, look at the players available to Hanley Town, and they will be more than capable in the Conference North. And by the way, I'd say the same about Macclesfield, I'd say the same about South Shields in the division below. Clubs that maybe historically haven't been in those positions, but what they're able to produce in terms of teams, it'll be a really tough game, very, very tough game. I will park sort of any planning for the FA Cup because of the Saturday Tuesday. What I will just keep reassuring people is that if anything, we're too aware of how important it is to the club. But as a group, we've played one FA Cup game, we've won one FA Cup game, and we haven't conceded a goal in the competition. Regardless of what's gone before in recent seasons, it doesn't matter to this group. But I think because of that, and we can't pretend we're not aware of it, there is a determination to deliver. And when you are now 2 wins from the first round proper, you do start to get excited once your cup run starts. But I'm telling you now, in terms of a tie, don't look at a 6th tier side against an 8th tier side. Of course we'll fancy ourselves, we do every single place that we go to and every single fixture we take part in, but I'm telling you now, you've got there a side that I don't think will be in the 8th tier for very long, and I say that I haven't seen them live twice this season, bizarrely, so I'm well aware of the challenge, but that is in the background because we've got a real Saturday Tuesday, a chance to keep building on a really good run, put points on the board away from home, something we were desperate to improve on from last season. So it's certainly going to be a busy 10 days or so.